Rack 'em. Hello, hello. Well, time flies. We on the second video, first video of 2022 of I used to be in the comment section, aka Les Grant. As I talked about in the first video, I used to be in these YouTube streets seeing all types of things in the Manosphere. And I was in one channel I like. It's Master Teacher. I call him MT. But I think he's got a good channel. I've been looking at him for about 2 years, followed him probably a year and a half ago. The crypto game, the financial knowledge is deep. I think this brother is very bright. I think he's very smart. But as with everybody, I don't agree with everything. And with him, I don't necessarily disagree with being a passport bro. Actually, I probably have to admit that I am one. And look at the thumbnail of the video. It's got my passport. But what I see with the passport bros, what I disagree with is, to me, and I've talked to other men in the Manosphere about it, or viewers, they seem to make overseas seem like a utopia. And it'd be just like making vacation seem like a utopia, which it is. I mean, you're on vacation, you're relaxing, you're having fun, but it's not your real life. It's a getaway. And foreign countries are just that. They're getaways. If you want to live there, that's fine. But there's pros and cons. One thing we got to understand about life is there's pros and cons to everything. And foreign countries, foreign women, or anything in life, it's going to have pros and cons. If we keep it always real to look at a reality aspect, we are going to have to make pros and cons. And for the passport bros of the videos, I really don't see any cons. Now, I have had guys that were in the comment section tell me that MT makes cons, but I've watched his videos for 2 years. Maybe I missed them. That could be on me. But I don't see much cons about going to foreign countries to pick up foreign women. And there are plenty of cons. There's cons either way. But like I said, for anything, there's pros and cons. The whole point of the video is to basically have passport bros just tell the reality of it. Tell the cons that can happen overseas. Tell the cons of foreign women taking advantage of men. It's readily can happen. Doesn't mean it happens all the time. Might not happen to the prominent passport brothers that are selling this ideology, but it happens. I mean, I've heard horror stories of brothels and stuff. When I go foreign, I actually meet women off of Tinder, just like I do in the States, or app, and then go from there. But I've heard horror stories of brothels. I've heard horror stories of working girls overseas. I've heard many horror stories. I think most of the people that have got in those positions have got there for a lack of common sense, but still have to tell the whole story, of going overseas. Many of these brothers make it seem like it's new or it's a cheat code. And I first heard about going overseas for women was actually in, it was either Raw or Delirious by Eddie Murphy. This is before I even liked women. This is when I was a kid growing up in the 80s, where basically Eddie Murphy talks about Yufufu or Umfufu. Anyway, he basically finds a woman out of Africa and brings her back, and then the horror begins. I'm not even saying what happens if you bring them back. That to me is what it is. And to me, if something's real, you should be able to put it in any environment to prove that it's real. If it's not real and you put it in an environment and it does what it does to you, then to me that's your bottom line answer. But I'm not even going to be one of the brothers that says, well, what if you bring her back? I'm not, stay over there or whatever. I just don't understand why these guys will put foreign women on a pedestal while basically they are using them for resources. If you don't believe that's the case, well, tell the foreign woman when you get there that you lost your citizenship, you have no money, you're trying to get back on your feet, and see what happens. Ask her, can you live with her? Another thing is, if you don't want to do that, because seen some guys in the comment section were like, well, you know, any woman that thinks you're a loser is not going to accept you. Yeah, true. But you can actually do like Zoom to Thailand and show her you're not a loser at first. Then you can act like you lost it all and see will she work with you. She's supposed to have an emotional attachment then. Then that tells you your bottom line. Then if she works with you or whatever, and whatever your case is, then what can I say? Maybe she's with you for the reasons you can accept or whatever. I mean, it really doesn't matter to me. You got, at the end of the day, you got to look yourself in the mirror as a man. And I just don't think it's an accomplishment when anybody with money can pay for whatever, you know, and that goes with women as well. Um, Another thing is you can always find another man with more money. You can always find another man with more things, more height, more money, more whatever. There's always somebody bigger. So in that reality, is she with you with the right purpose? But what I keep on hearing is foreign women are more feminine and American women are more masculine. Well, when I've been on foreign countries, honestly, they do seem more feminine. But there's a reason why they seem more feminine, that another reason what the passport bros aren't talking about. We have to look at this as a way as who shapes societies. And I believe that men shape societies. So you're seeing foreign women act this way, which you perceive as more feminine. It's because the men that have set societies there, or to set the dating market or the mating market or whatever, is different there for the better. America since 1960 has been on a downturn for reasons with the government that have took femininity away, have took the family away. And they'll see at the end that without the family, you can't have a strong nation. But that's another video. But in this video, to me, you have to see who sets up societies. And I say that is men, that is not women. I'll give you an example how I know that men set up societies. I'm going to use the example of the Taliban. It's a little strong example, but it is a valid example. The women in their society, if I was to fly to Afghanistan and join the Taliban, I would probably have real good ravings about the women in their society. And it's really not the women, it's the way the men have set it up. Because a woman has no rights in Afghanistan or the Taliban. So if I was to say I married multiple women under Sharia law and they basically did whatever, it doesn't matter because they don't have rights under that society. So this example is telling you that men set up societies with the example in the Taliban. This is also showing you that basically women do what they're told in society, which is the same thing with foreign countries, whether you're talking about Central America, Latin America, Asia, or what have you, Europe. They do what rights are basically given to them. So you're comparing America to foreign lands. Well, since the 60s in America, if you know, in the history book, basically America's given them these rights. Western societies, I call it, which are consist of G8 countries. Anglo-Saxon Empire is basically what I'm talking about. Is like the UK, America, Switzerland, um, countries like that that are basically industrialized G8 countries have basically giving women a lot of rights, even like Canada, since the 1960s. Basically, they have given many rights to women that your Central America, your South America, your Asian countries don't give them as much, or at least there's something. It's like when you go to these countries, the way you're treated, it's like getting blacks back to 1940 or something like that in America. But it's not the 1960 and modern of day America, right? So you see less divorces, you see a lot of things, but basically, to me, you have to break this down about female nature and how it applies to every woman. To me, female nature applies to everywhere. It doesn't matter basically what they're doing. Even if I was in Afghanistan with that extreme example, it would still apply. Are they doing this because they want to out of free will? Are they doing this because they have to survive or some other mechanism? And that's what I believe it is. I believe they're doing this to survive or whatever. I don't believe it's their true intentions. I think if you gave them true intentions, they would probably do something else, just like you see women in the United States of America in modern days. Now back to the Umfufu example with Eddie Murphy. You seen his woman was influenced by Western society women when she was here in his example, and that's why she ended up doing what she was doing. She had more rights. And I believe that if you took a woman from the Taliban and put her in any environment where she has more rights, she would do the same thing. So I don't believe by nature they're as feminine as these passport bros make them out to be. I do think that in foreign countries they are more fit, but there's two things going on when I look at all women as a whole. They don't have as much money and they have better nutrition. They don't have as much McDonald's and the fast food culture and the GMO that we've got going on in Western society. So that is something I do believe that when I was in Central and South America, that pound for pound, they're more fit, but it's a different environment. And I do know when you don't have a guaranteed meal or you're not eating like we eat in America, the whole society, including the men, are going to be fitter pound for pound because as much as we complain about the women in America and the obesity goes for all of us. Like I just lost 30 pounds and I could lose more, but it's part of culture where we have men and women that are out of shape. One of the biggest national security things going on right now, truth be told, is the obesity epidemic. That is a direct threat to national security, and it's been that way for the last 20, 30 years. No one really talks about it. You might see it on 60 Minutes or something like that for a while, but that's one thing. But I do believe they're more fit. I'll give the passport bros that. But I've seen feminine, and I've even dealt with feminine women. I've dealt in America. I've dealt with feminine women everywhere I've been, and to me, you just have to attract them. Now, do we have as many as them? I don't know because I would even say, like most of the countries I've visited in Central America, we have more people than them. So I can't tell you who's got more and break it down to that level. I don't think there's been statistics out for that, but I can tell you that basically pound for pound, they are more fitter. But I don't really even know how many of the passport bros can very. intelligently tell me the character of these women, because most of these guys go over there just like you ought to go over there for a while and leave. Even if you go there for a few months, you can't really gauge someone's character for 3 months. Like I was married for 12 years and I ain't really see her character till the end. It's just like you ask any divorced man, they'll tell you, well, the woman I married is not the woman who I divorced. It is what it is. So how can you guys vouch for their being feminine, their character, and they're so much better if you haven't even been with them long term? I know MT himself, I don't think he is married. I've never seen any video where he claims to be married or has a long term relationship, and I know he goes country to country, which is a good thing. I'm not knocking the brother. I think he lives an excellent life, but it's not a life where he could tell me the ups and downs, the in between of a relationship with a foreign woman. I don't think he's done that long term. I definitely don't think he's married a woman. I'm not telling him to do that. That's definitely not my advice. But how can you basically talk about her character if you're only with her short term? I've been with many women short term, and I would say they have excellent characters because I have to deal with them when this stuff got rough. That's when you really know what you got, is when it gets rough. Anybody can do whatever with you when everything's going good, but the one that sticks with you with the same attitude when things are going bad is actually a good resource. I hear many of these passport bros talking about how feminine the women are and how genuine they are. Like I said, to me, when you take everything off the table, you'll see what you really have and see why she's really with you. And I think it's going to be a shocking because most men are going to see that she's with you for your resources. Another thing that I have a disagreement with is hypergamy. I mean, I hear many of the passport bros know what hypergamy is, also with female nature, but then their actions or this action path goes against it. Now, basically, you're hypergamous in America and that's not working or whatever, so you go foreign. And you become more hypergamous when you get to a foreign country. You are now went from a 5 to an 8 or 4 to an 8, somewhere around there where you're a man of resources because you're using the United States currency as the world's reserves currency to get women now. So you're a pick that they're going to pick you up instead of their foreign men because you have resources or you're exotic to them or whatever. But if you're hypergamous and you know what it is, yet you're lying to yourself that you don't know why she's with you or that you think she's with you for the right reasons when basically you were just a bigger pit in hypergamy. That doesn't make sense. Another thing I disagree with MT on directly is the tricking. He was talking about, and I've heard other content creators talk about that other cultures don't use the word and what's wrong with us and tricking. Well, I like to use tricking because tricking has been part of the lexicon since about the 1920s. And basically, the history goes back you were a pimp or you're a trick, one of the two. But on the tricking in this context, basically, to me, it's a check and balance to see why the woman's with you. Because women choose for whatever reasons, but they choose for a reason. So to me, it's better to look at it and say, I'm going to be realistic about it and not be a fool and be her service provider. I mean, we always talk about the plantation, but you're going to basically serve her, or give her money, or give her whatever. Security, you can call it whatever you're going to give her. But what is the reason she's with you and can you live with it? So with the tricking, to me, it's valid. It's valid to basically say, I pay her money and she stays around, or some other reason. To me, you want more than that reason as far as financial, because as I said before, she can always go to the next man that has more money. There's always going to be someone that has more money. Like I think MT's got more money than me or whatever, but it doesn't matter. But Bill Gates has more money than us put together. So it is what it is. There's always going to be some reason what keeps her or whatever in the bottom line. And to me, tricking is valid. To me, it's a check and balances of why I'm more with her. Am I just spending money? And it also makes you look in the mirror and say, anybody can do this. Anybody with money can do this. So that doesn't make me special. As far as other cultures go, they don't use the word tricking or whatever. I don't really care what other cultures do because you're looking at other cultures like they're to look up to. I've seen what happens in other cultures, or if you're talking about specifically the pale man that doesn't use the word tricking in America, I've seen what happens in suburbia or upper class societies where the guy might not use the lexicon of tricking. He might not do a checks and balances, but yet he buys this woman a big rock and she's getting done by the pool boy he hires. I mean, explain that. To me, he'd be better off looking at himself in the mirror and say, I was tricking, I should let it go. But I don't really care what other cultures do. They're not the shining light. And another thing, to be honest with you, when you're talking about the black culture, is when you look at the lexicon of society today in the United States of America, we're the popular culture. A lot of things that happens to the black community or the blacks basically is popular culture, and it's been like that for decades. So I set my own tone. I'll use the word tricking. I know my boy CGA, he doesn't like it either. He's used it the other day though when it fit his means. But anyway, I use the word tricking. I don't really care what other cultures do because to me, that's what sets it. Um, I had family that basically told me that, you know, tricking anyone can do. And to me, it's a checks and balances is when I'm dealing with a woman is why am I here or what's going on. So I can, keep a hold of what I'm doing to check myself. So I don't mind the tricking. We disagree on that as far as using that word. And another thing that I'm not a word police guy, meaning the N word, the tricking or whatever. I'm going to take a word out of the lexicon. Words have meaning, some of them horrible or whatever, but I don't take them out and censor it. That's just not who me. That's not my ideology or philosophy. So with the word tricking, to me it has a context. It still plays, um, but it's kind of changed in modern because when it really comes from the PIMPS, it was basically you're either a client or you're selling. So it is what it is. We'll uh, agree to disagree on that, and master teacher might have a response for this. So anyway, this is my second video, first response video. I don't in my response videos use video clips for the biggest reason is trust. And I don't have a problem with master teacher, but I don't want my channel censored by anyone because I decided to use their clips. I said fair use and not in. I don't want the legal entanglements. I've been in court too many times in my adult life, so I'm not even gonna risk it now. Most of these channels that I will do a response for have way bigger subscribers than me that their subscribers have watched and viewed their videos, so they know what was said. So I don't really feel that I need to use clip for clip and say free use to use it. We know what was said. And I mean, this video in general is just a response to the Passport Bros on MT channel and everywhere because, I've ever since your SYBSM and whatever I've heard, Passport Bros, and I have no problem whatsoever with Passport Bros going overseas to have fun. I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. I'm not one of these people that you got to stay in America or whatever. I don't really care what a man does. A man can do whatever he has with his resources that he earned. So if they want to go overseas, that's fine. I go overseas. But to me, it's been sold as a utopia, and that's just what I disagree with. There's not a utopia. You can get set up very easily by going overseas with a so-called good woman or whatever. You don't know them. You haven't vetted these women. You don't know their family. Even I would say that this has been a problem in America. Is like vetting women. Like to me, when a woman's going to do whatever she's going to do to you, if she knows your family and you know her family and y'all go way back and all the ripple effect of that, that's going to me make anybody with room temperature IQ think about doing things before they do somebody dirty. So when you go to foreign countries and you don't know them, you don't know their family, and then I guarantee you there's conversations that's going on behind background that's saying, "Oh, this guy's a rich American." I guarantee you her family's more like, make sure he takes care of all of us or something. It's I guarantee you it's not like treat him right. But anyway, that's another conversation. But if you're not vetting these women, you don't really know them. To me, they put them on pedestals. And to me, they're just women. And women are women everywhere. You're going to see some that are masculine, some that are feminine, some that have different sexual orientations, or what have you, different walks of life in different places. So, anyway, that's my video and my response. I'd like to thank Master Teacher for what he's contributed to the Manosphere. This is a video of my opinion. It's no real beef. I wish that brother the best. Um, it's not real beef when I have a difference of opinion, and like I said, I'm more happy to agree to disagree and move on. But at least my subscribers of my channel and his subscriber knows where we sit on this. There are many things. I'd have to say my percentage view of MT is probably I agree with him on 85 to 90% of the things he says. So this is just one thing. And I don't agree with any man or any woman for that matter on everything. So this is just how I feel about it. The passport bros are going to continue to do what they're going to do. And that's part of being a man. So, and I have no problem with it whatsoever. I wish them the best travels or whatever. But to me, to sell this to men that have not been overseas yet, it's just not realistic to me. And like I said before, I might have missed something. Maybe MT will go back on his videos and say, let's should have looked into this, that, and that. I might have missed something. But to me, just give the pros and the cons of it all and give a realistic view before you're going to have a lot of guys jumping there and they're going to think it's one way and it's not reality. A lot of them, when you sell them this, are going to end up messing up what you had, like Colombia. And MT knows what I'm talking about. Colombia was a hidden gem, and now it's become riffraff zone for men to go to because men like women. And with the United States being the environment of what it is with women nowadays, men are going to continue to look for ways out or ways out where they can be men and they can find women that they like. So, with that said, I'm out. But thanks again to MT and all his subscribers. I didn't mean to ruffle any feathers. This is not a beef. I don't have YouTube beefs. This is just a difference of opinion. And I know where he's coming from. Now he knows where I'm coming from. I'm out.